Today, which I'm very much looking forward to, is just introducing our speaker, Roger León, a native Newarker, a product of the school system he's leading now, and the first locally selected superintendent in over 20 years for the system, I think, as everyone knows. I am not going to try to go through his bio. uh, that would take up our hour. Um, he has been with the district for 25 years, and just a few of the highlights would include earning a bachelor's of science in biological science at Rutgers, teaching 3 years, fifth grade at the Hawkins School, algebra 1 to eighth graders at Rafael Hernandez. Not significant because at that time, algebra for eighth graders was well ahead of the national curve. There weren't that many people who thought you could do it well, that those kids could learn that kind of material that young. um, Principal of William Horton School for 4 years, University School of Humanities for 6 years. While he was at university, it ranked as one of the top high schools in the state. Um, Served as assistant superintendent for 10 years now. And in his capacity as assistant superintendent, he has led reforms that influenced early childhood, special education, bilingual education, elementary and secondary education. I don't know what that leaves out, right? He's led reforms that have affected every aspect of the city, of the school system. So I mean, obviously he's a leader of many accomplishments, and I haven't discussed this with him, but I'll bet you I know him well enough that if you were to ask him what his proudest accomplishments are, very close to the top of that list would be the 8 years he spent as head coach of the Science High School debate team, during which that debate team won local, state, and national championships. I just know that that would be very close to his heart. So, with all that said, I give you Superintendent Roger León, and his topic today is going to be Beyond the Pandemic, Accelerating Our Progress in Newark. So, thank you very much, Mr. León, for being with us today.
Thank you, Dr. Payne. Good morning to everyone. The presentation is going to be basically in three sections, just to, before I get started, and I'm focusing it in these three ways. Why are we working like if we are unbothered by a whole host of things? Then we're going to focus on the realities of right now, given COVID-19. And then the end of the presentation, we'll be like, well, where are we actually going? Let me take this opportunity to obviously thank the chancellor who, oh my goodness, of the people who are my role models, she's definitely on that short list. I thank her for her incredible leadership during these times, and obviously her forward thinking. Obviously I see Sherry Ann Butterfield, and obviously the incredible staff at Rutgers. So good morning to all of them. Obviously a big thank you to the Cornwall Center, to the incredible work that Dr. Payne is doing, the incredible assist by Michael Simmons. And I did see Dr. Yamba and Dr. Powell. So both of them are quite interesting because Dr. Powell actually was a professor that I had in a math methods course. And he is in part one of the reasons. My mother would claim that she's the reason why I know math, but he's definitely one of the reasons why I teach it as well as I do. Dr. Yamba and I were at an incredible meeting a long time ago, well, not that long ago. And I said to him, I was in a program at Essex County College when I was in 7th grade called IEE, Instructions, Experiences, Exposures. I said, it profoundly impacted my life in 7th grade. And he goes, he is the one at Essex County College who designed it. The reason why I'm referencing that, and I wouldn't have mentioned him by name with the exception of seeing him here, is that embodied in both of those men's work is a lot of what we are in fact doing. I wanted to obviously thank my entire staff, the deputy, the school business administrator, our general counsel, my incredible chief of staff, all of the assistant superintendents, David, who has been instrumental in helping me in most of my presentations, and everyone on executive staff for the incredible work that we are doing. The mayor and I are in interesting roles because we're both children of the city, and there hasn't been that many tag teams of mayor born in Newark, superintendents born in Newark, and taking the lead from the chancellor. I really see my role as being the anchor as to what we provide all of the children from birth through handing them over to her and our respective colleagues at the higher education level. So let us begin. Mission statement for the district. As you may be aware, we have a 10-year strategic plan. We are the only school district in the entire country that has actually outlined a 10-year plan. Others have about 4 or 6 years. Our mission is to deliver an academically rigorous and culturally responsive instructional program that prepares every student for success and builds knowledge, strengthens character, cultivates ingenuity, and fosters leadership. The vision. Our vision is to build a new educational ecosystem that provides a world-class education for every child in Newark. Our core values, there are 5. Children are at the center. Ever since I was a teacher and a principal, and I did that for 6 years, I'm the only superintendent of the 21 superintendents that have existed that has both elementary experience as a principal and secondary experience as a principal, having been a teacher at the elementary school and teaching algebra as a pilot, as well as debate coach at our high schools. So I have a breadth of knowledge as it relates to impacts on the instructional program, both at the academic level, at the early ages, as well as when our students are and what they need to prepare for college. With that energy, I share with you that children are always our focus. What we do must be centered always around them. A commitment to excellence. I believe in reciprocal relationships. This was taught to me by Dr. John Goodlad as I was one of his students. Cultivating agency is what we actually want to eventually empower every student to do. You can see that students are in rallies and events like that. We want to empower them to know that their voice is always critical at all times. And obviously, the work around equity is extremely important for me to read this one. We disrupt and rebuild every practice, policy, resource distribution, and system that may act as a barrier to opportunities for all. That is who we are. That is what we do. Here's our theory. If Newark develops an educational ecosystem that comprehensively organizes resources, stakeholders, and institutions in our city to support the success of students, then we will catalyze the system-wide transformations needed to establish and sustain a culture of equity, continuous improvement, unity, and excellence for all. We have 3 clear district goals: the strategic plan, obviously moving student achievement, and then doing one of the things that I think I bring as a strength to the organization, knowing it as a student, a teacher, a principal, and 11 years as an executive staff member. I have a strong strength in how to actually create systems that work. That is what my strength is, and that will add to the work that we're doing ahead. There are 12 keys to NPS Clarity 2020, the district's 10-year strategic plan. There are 3 areas that we have deviated from over the last 25 years. That is our gifted and talented program. We used to have an actual office. It doesn't exist. An adult education office where we're actually educating adults that for whatever reasons did not get their high school diploma or need to learn English. When I was a teacher, principal at Dr. Horton School, I offered ESL, I offered, for those who obviously wanted to learn English, GED in Spanish for those who didn't speak English, and obviously GED course for those who did speak English. I had my African-American parents and even a couple of Latino parents say, why was I offering ESL to parents? And I shared with them, well, they don't speak English. They want to learn. So the parents said to me, well, guess what? We speak English and we want to learn Spanish. So as a principal, I created an English course, a Spanish course for parents who wanted to learn Spanish. That then resulted in a computer course for parents who actually wanted to build skills to increase their repertoire as they actually applied for resumes. All of those programs used to exist. They don't exist anymore. They were removed over the last 25 years. And our alternative education program, which is much needed, doesn't exist. It was dissolved over the last couple of years. Ultimately, there are 12 keys. We are reinvesting in those 12 keys. These are our 6 R's: reinvest, reinvigorate, return, research, reflect, and respond. That is what we want to do with students that actually build and grow through our entire system. That's what we want them to do. Where do we start? Well, we know that we get students into college or they go into a career. Obviously, our work is to get them to college, then get into a career. But we actually have students that actually go from high school into a career, but we don't prepare them for such. That is how we have redefined the secondary work. At the early ages, we start at age 3 by law. However, we know that the conception to cradle work is extremely important. We must involve and directly help parents that are actually nurturing the baby while it's in the mommy's womb. That's what redefines us. There are game changers along the way. They catapult students through the new ecosystem and intentionally immerse them in experiences earlier in their schooling years to profoundly impact their lives now and in the future. So we provide these opportunities during the entire, as you're obviously you're receiving already a copy of the strategic plan, and you're receiving the logic model. The logic model has on its right-hand side game changers that actually let you see what our intended goal. Part of the 10-year strategic plan is not to wait until 2030 for you to go, oh, I get what he was doing. No, you will know what we're doing now. The conception to cradle work begins at conception. So we are in partnership right now with all of the presidents of all of the hospitals. Go to the next slide so that they can see the consortium. The presidents of the hospitals are the steering committee. So I have with Beth Israel, St. Michael's, and Claremont and University Hospital. Those 4 presidents have created an MOU where I will have one of our employees actually work at each of those hospitals. And what will occur as part of the discharge process, when the mommy and daddy are ready to leave the hospital, the last person that they will see on the discharge list is a Newark Public Schools employee. These are the school options that we have. These are the nutrition programs that we have for you so that you do not have to wait until your baby is 3 years old for them to be ready for school. These are the things that you need to do as a mommy and daddy to get ready for the child. These are programs that we're going to provide you, like the incredible work that Dr. Lynn does. That employee of the district will actually be working at each of the hospitals under this redefined new consortium from conception to cradle to age 3 to help us. We just received an $8 million Head Start grant to move this work along. How have our seniors, that's at the early age. How did our seniors do in the class of 2020? They had the worst experience. Imagine this, a senior, 18 years old. What did they live through? September 11th, 25 years of state operation, a global pandemic, civil unrest in the pursuit of justice, and then the greatest injustice in the pursuit of more injustice. What were they able to do? Boom, $40,514,081 in college scholarships. They saved parents $4,921,884 by taking courses at Essex County College, Rutgers, the University of New Jersey in Newark, and NJIT. 126 of our seniors graduated not only with a high school diploma, we know that that's not good enough. They actually graduated with associate's degrees. When I was principal at University High School, I offered 19 AP courses. That is how we're flipping this story. We're providing AP courses to our students, and guess what? Students who were never in these courses could not realize that they could not do it. Now that we've offered the courses, they are doing it. What have we done? We have provided intense summer courses for teachers. We will eventually provide summer internships for students to actually ready them for these courses come September of their senior and junior years. Our graduation rate, 80.7%. Let me tell you, I'm not proud of it, but let's know this. Over 25 years, the highest graduation rate is 80.7% during my tenure as superintendent. How's our attendance? Well, the previous year, 91.9. Last school year, 95.7. There are many people, especially if they're critics, that would argue, well, of course your attendance went up. The majority of the students were in their house from March to June. That's a good argument, but this is what I did. What was September to mid-March in the previous year? 92.6. September to mid-March before we went on remote instruction, 93.5. Our students are doing academically better now than ever before. I'm not saying that that's attributed to COVID-19. It's attributed to the incredible work and the adjustments that our teachers have made and that our parents have made by actually making their homes, their living rooms, bedrooms, and kitchens classrooms. Our attendance, however, has been absolutely incredible. Watch the trajectory. This is all this school year from September through December. I also want you to be aware that the state of New Jersey created new guidance with regards to attendance in the road back. The information that you need to be aware is that students can be online or they can be and receive asynchronous instruction. So we will be reporting out that those numbers have in fact increased at one of our most recent soon to come board meetings. So that attendance number is in fact what was but actually what is given, all of the asynchronous instruction will showcase a whole lot better. So the Wallace Foundation had 6 school districts across the United States that were in this incredible pipeline project. Who are they? Charlotte-Mecklenburg, Denver Public Schools, Gwinnett County, Hillsborough County, New York City, and Prince George's County in Maryland. What happened from those 6 schools? They identified 90 school districts across the United States of America. And where did they come to? Yep, they invited Newark, New Jersey to not only join in that initiative, but they have already touted that our academic program, creating a principal pipeline in partnership with Montclair State University, is probably the most incredible pipeline, most incredible master's program for people who are interested in becoming administrators in New Jersey. And we're extremely excited about being beneficiaries of those results. The 5th year is critical of this strategic plan. Everything that's listed will be transformed in a major dramatic way. As it relates to programs for children with exceptionalities, we're at Gallaudet University for our children who are, like my oldest sister, deaf. The program that we will provide at Bruce Street School for the Deaf and at Technology High School for children who are deaf will be second to none in this country. We're extremely excited about the assistance that we've received from Gallaudet. Higher education partners, like I've already shouted out the Rutgers City of Newark's incredible chancellor and the academic program that we are seizing at Rutgers Newark unlike ever before. NJIT has followed suit, and obviously Essex County College will assume its very important role with the work that we're doing in middle school instruction. But as it relates to students with exceptionalities, my assistant superintendent of the Office of Pupil Support Services has actually revamped the entire special education program. If we are not helping the students that have exceptionalities above and beyond everyone else, what would make anyone think that we're educating all of the other students in any matter that is befitting of a school district who concerns itself with the children of the great city of Newark? Eventually, 5th year, 2025 is critical. Professional development school, we will be expecting the creation of that. So that's all the work that we are moving ahead on. What has happened to date? Well, guess what? COVID-19 is real. I didn't start the meeting with this, but I want you to know that all of the meetings that I am having in public, I am actually showcasing these horrible numbers. COVID-19 is an evil virus. It does not, you don't see it coming, and when it arrives, it doesn't allow the ones you love to be around you. I want to take this opportunity to just extend on behalf of my 55,000 students across all of the schools in the district, the charter schools, the private schools, and the parochial schools, nothing but prayers to you and your families, as it may have impacted you directly. It may have impacted you directly with your staff, or it may have impacted you indirectly with people who you care about. In Newark, 28,412 of our residents are COVID-19 positive. 830 of them succumbed to the virus with their lives. In the school district, you know, those of you who know me very well, I'm born and raised in this city, and I've lived here my whole entire life, still live here today. And one of my friends who owns one of the breakfast shops in Newark, I haven't seen her in a long time. She has a granddaughter who is in 1st grade in our schools. And she introduced her granddaughter to me the other day. And she said, "Do you know who this is?" She said, "No." Her grandma said, "This is the superintendent." And the little girl says, "I don't see his cape." I wish I had those powers to really cover all of you, all of our schools, all of the staff, and all of the children. COVID-19 is real. We have 431 of our 6,300 employees who have been diagnosed as COVID positive. And as late as the 2nd week of December, our 7th employee succumbed to the virus with her lives. Just a moment, go back. While we're at the business, I just wanted to take this time to pause and have you reflect on those who positive energy from me is going to right now. The task force. So State Senate President Sweeney created a state task force. I have the great honor of being one of 3 superintendents that sits on it. I'm extremely excited about the incredible work that my colleagues are doing all throughout the country, all throughout the state, and definitely all of my colleagues throughout the country, and the work that they're doing, in particular, the urban school district superintendents, the Council of Great City Schools, and those who have actually contacted me with regards to the strategies that we're implementing in Newark. The mayor has added me to his emergency management team, and I just thank him for the incredible leadership that he's modeling for us. He has saved lives. I created the NBOE task force for the reopening of schools, and I asked the deputy superintendent and the school business administrator to be my co-chairpersons. And I want to thank everyone who is serving on that committee for the incredible work that they are doing. There are clear outline district protocols that we are following. Our staff is required to test negative before they come back, wear masks. We are contactless sites. That means you cannot enter in our facilities unless you're a student or an employee. Obviously, social distancing, and that closing schools, classrooms or offices is a part of our district's protocol. I want to thank West Essex YMCA Peanut Shell Early Childhood Center, because they are one of the 400 models that we are modeling the work that we are in fact doing in the city of Newark. Please make sure that you drop the link to Peanut for the folks. We have 4 ingress procedures. Step 1 is going to eventually be an app. We are actually piloting it right now with district staff. Step 2 is a temperature check. Step 3 is this entire footwear sanitizing station. And the liquid that the students actually step on is in fact the same liquid that we are utilizing to clean our schools. And the parents have really enjoyed the work that we did on this item, especially during the course of the summer. Step 4 is obviously the all important hand washing, sanitizing. If you didn't know, please make sure that you're wearing a mask. Please make sure that you stay 6 feet apart from each other. And please make sure that you're washing your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds. The reopening plan. Let me take you through the trajectory. On March 13th, I made the very important decision that evening to actually go virtual. And I share with you that was 11 months ago. One of the things that we did during those first couple of months is focus on students that arise to our location. The assistant superintendent of, actually the executive director of student life, she already had on her radar all of the students that needed additional attention or that they came to our attention prior to COVID. So we targeted a small group of students and we made sure that we were providing them with all intensive services all during last school year. We have distributed approximately 3 million meals to all of the children and the families in the city of Newark. We created a summer reading list, and they were supposed to come and pick up books. And what my incredible assistant superintendent of teaching and learning with the deputy did is actually purchase all of the books that the students were required to read as online services. We had 2 summer sites because the actual positivity rate was decreasing in Newark at First Avenue and at 13th Avenue School. I met with the principals, I met with the staff, I met with all of the parents and all of the students. And one of the things that I told them is that our plan has closing of schools as an option. And you know what happened on the first day of summer school at First Avenue? Yep, we actually had to close the school. You know what? The parents understood that that was a part of the strategy. So be very, very, very clear with the parents is extremely important. How can you become clear? Well, we have the road back that you're receiving through a link right now. You have the district's reopening plan. That's extremely important that if you weren't aware of it, that you are aware of it. There are 22 food service sites all throughout the city of Newark that are open for families on Mondays and Thursdays. Monday, we distribute for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, we distribute for Thursday and Friday, and the weekend from 7:30 to 11:30. You don't have to attend the school. All you have to be is a child who wants a meal, and you can come to any of our sites for that, the holidays. So this began to be of great concern because we have pushed back the opening of schools. The holidays, Thanksgiving to New Year's, was of great concern to me. And as you can see, the numbers doubled from what it was at the height of the pandemic. We are hoping that the second wave is, in fact, not still on a rise. Our objective would be to have students in person on April 12th. Ultimately, we have a survey that the parents will receive in March that will actually help influence the decision of what they would like for their children to do. Ultimately, the idea is to allow the parents to decide if their children will continue remote or if they will join us in person. Big shout outs to the Alliance, to NTU, to all of the polls that the district created and their distribution. The convocations that I've had, I had a convocation in September with 6,300 employees, with 12,500 students, and obviously my ongoing meetings with the charter schools, private schools, and the parochial schools. July 1, was a very critical date because that is the date that the state of New Jersey and the governor reviewed all of the necessary documents and actually declared that we were a high-performing school district, and we actually received full local control on July 1. So we've only been in charge for the last couple of months, although we've been trying to get to this point over the last 25 years. Two options as it relates to what the parents will choose. They can choose remote instruction or in-person. Remote instruction would be remote, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The hybrid model is not mine, although I love to claim it as such. This actually comes from Scotch Plains. The superintendent there decided to have, because a lot of students wanted to be in person, Monday, Tuesday is in person, that's model 1, or Thursday, Friday is in person, that's model 2, and that allows for the building to undergo deep cleaning on Wednesday, so everyone would be remote. There are some students, because of the number of students that actually are indicating that they will want to be in person, that will actually be able to be in person every single day. And obviously the teachers and their principals will have specific information as it relates to that. Dr. Charles Payne, oh my goodness. He sent me Ed Research for Recovery June 2020 report, and every single one of the principals and everyone that has interacted with me that is a superintendent throughout this country, I have asked them to make sure that they read this incredible work. There are 4 strategies that we're deploying in Newark: looping, extended learning time, tutoring, and the creation of strong systems. Big shout outs to obviously our custodial staff, food services, and security, because at the height of the pandemic, and even right now, they're coming to work every single one of the days. A big thank you to all of the staff, from principals to teachers and everyone in between, that has helped distribute 25,000 Chromebooks to all of our students. Obviously, my IT director has been executive director has been absolutely incredible with making sure that students have Chromebooks, hotspots, and all of the necessary Wi-Fi to be activated. If you know of somebody that's having a problem, please make sure that they actually speak to their school pandemic response team, the teacher or the principal, and we'll make sure that we provide them with any assistance and support. Last item for you to be aware of is that if you received a vaccine in Newark recently, or COVID-19 test during the height of the pandemic, one of the nurses that you probably interacted were my nurses, because we actually helped the city of Newark and all of the hospitals by giving them all of my RNs to protect the citizens of the city of Newark. Well, that's what we've been doing. What has been happening along the way? Boom, my receiving of $100 million for an energy savings improvement program, our Sustainable Jersey Bronze certification that we've just received, which allows me to apply for more money. The capital bond, we received a capital bond in 2016, $30 million. You know how much we've spent of it? Only a couple $1 million. When I became superintendent, you gave me $30 million. The district has been sitting on $30 million for 3 years before my arrival. Guess what? I spent it. CARES Act, we received over $18 million, and all of this was designated in basically 3 areas. One area is personal protective equipment, another area is in the area of technology, and the third area is on tutoring programs for students. The Special Education Medicaid Initiative, because of the work that the special education team has done with parents, we actually recouped $3.6 million from Medicaid. Just to let you know, for those of you who are already aware, I was left with 5 legal matters to handle. They totaled $80 million. Imagine this. I became superintendent on July 1, 2018. And the first thing that I realized is that there were 5 legal matters that had a ticket price of a total of $80 million. Because of the people that I hired, because of the people that were in fact replaced, that were handling these matters, that $80 million has become a little less than $3 million in the end. That would probably be one of the many reasons why we received the Meritorious Budget Award. A big shout out, obviously, to our school business administrator who has spearheaded that. What are we doing with all this money? Let's fix the schools. Please understand this. We did not take advantage of COVID-19 to do these slides. We actually were doing all of this work prior to COVID-19. What COVID-19 has allowed us to do is to get it done quicker because there are no children in our building. Building code rehabilitation, bathroom plumbing upgrades across Cleveland, Hawkins, Hawthorne, Lafayette, Lincoln. Environmental remediation at all of these schools: Abington, Bard, Carver, 14th Avenue, Hawkins, Horton, Marin, McKinley, New Jersey Regional Day, Weequahic, and Westside. The Westside new high school gymnasium. A big shout out to obviously the MCJ Amelia Foundation for their incredible leadership. New gymnasium floors across these schools: 14th Avenue, Carver, and New Jersey Regional Day. Replacements at American History, Ann Street, and Barringer. Emergency generator replacements at Chancellor, Early Childhood West, Hawthorne, and Quitman. Fire alarm system upgrades, Abington American History, Dr. Horton, Peshine. HVAC upgrades at Abington, Ann Street, Arts, Barringer, Horton, Carver, Shabazz, Hernandez, Weequahic, Wilson. So you can see some of the incredible work that is actually underway at Ann Street and at Wilson. You see befores and afters. LED lighting upgrades at Ann Street, Early Childhood Newark, Shabazz Stadium, Newark School of Global Studies, which is a new school, and Sir Isaac Newton Elementary School. Solar panels that we have installed, rooftops at Arts, Carver, Shabazz Technology, rooftops and ports at Barringer and Weequahic. I'm getting a little excited. And ports only at Newark Vocational High School. Well, before we go back. So I want to make it clear, this is all incredible work that was underway. It was underway before COVID-19. COVID-19 kind of put a couple of little breaks on it for us, but what we've done is actually flip COVID-19 on its head as best we could, and actually seize the opportunity to get a lot of this important work, which would have had to wait until after school hours, on the weekends, and in the summer. We are nowhere near finished with all of this work, but I will tell you this. You see all of this work that's needed. I want to thank Mary Bennett and Ray Lindgren, who were two children of the city of Newark, who have assisted us in making sure that every single school received an audit of its facilities. You would have thought based on the audit that we would need state operation of the school district, not that we finished succumbing to 25 years of state operation. All of this work, what was happening for 25 years? Let's talk about some high school options. So what are we doing? So in Newark, we have 6 magnet high schools. You used to have to test to get in. I graduated from Science High School. You had to take an admissions test to go there. We've changed that a bit. Comprehensive high schools, there are 6 of them. A lot of people don't know that where were the magnet high schools created? They were created inside of the comprehensive high schools. So this is our gift back. My administration will give back to people that who are critical towards where the district is in fact going. This is how the gift back looks. So we are creating an honors program in every comprehensive high school, academies, and a college preparatory program. So the least program that you can actually get into is a college prep program at any one of our comprehensive high schools. That is completely new. There's a 3-part strategy. We will partner the comprehensive high schools with a magnet high school, a higher education institution, and a professional organization. All of this work is already done. Public safety and law is at Barringer. University High School is the magnet. Rutgers Law School is higher education partner. McCarter and English Attorneys at Law is the professional organization. Central High School is the Environmental Studies Academy. Science High School is the magnet high school. Kane University is the higher education partner, and PSEG is the professional organization. The Teacher Academy is at Eastside High School. The magnet is university. The higher education partner is Montclair State University, and the professional organization is the American Federation of Teachers. Engineering is at Shabazz. Maclemet Shabazz High School, the magnet high school is Technology High School. The higher education partner is NJIT, and the professional organization is Stryker. I would mention, go back, that when nobody wanted to help the high schools, Rutgers Newark embodied itself in being a clear partner at the Malcolm X Shabazz High School. They are super critical to everything that we do, not only in one school, but in all of our high schools. Weequahic is the Allied Health Services Program. Science is the magnet high school. Rutgers School of Nursing is the higher education partner, and RWJ Barnabas Health is the professional organization. Westside High School is the Business and Finance Academy. The magnet is American History High School. The higher education partner is Rutgers Business School, and the professional organization is Google. Where are we going? Arts High School will partner with Barringer and Eastside. Bard will partner with all of the comprehensive high schools in creating an arts program at those 2 schools, and a incredible dual enrollment program across each of these high schools. Eagle is our specialized high school for young men. We opened in September Newark Vocational. It has a culinary arts program, travel and tourism, and it has a printing program. We opened up Newark School of Global Studies. China and Arabic are the 2 main languages. There's a diplomacy pathway and an international business pathway. Kane University will help us with China. We're on our way to make sure that we have our passports to do that. Seton Hall is taking care of our Arabic program, and we will actually be picking the country that actually our students will not only pen pal with students, but visit before they graduate from high school. These are the new schools that we're opening up, new high schools. Newark School of Data Science and Information Technology will open up this September. Newark School of Fashion and Design will open up also this September. One school will be in the West Ward, one school will be in the North Ward. We clearly have an admissions process at all of our high schools, not just at the magnets. You have to apply, you have to test, you have to audition or interview depending on the high school's criteria. Sir Isaac Newton Elementary School is a new elementary school. This is what we decided to do. It's in the Central Ward. Many people said, you know, how do you get into a magnet high school? So by 2025, we will decide, will we put our resources in one elementary school in each ward? This is an elementary school in the Central Ward for science. I met with all of the parents and advised them they never have to apply to science high school. They're right now pre-K to first grade. As they grow every year, when they get to 8th grade, they do not have to apply to high school because Sir Isaac Newton Elementary School is Science Park High School. All of these students will automatically be enrolled to that high school. There will be one in every ward. We will decide this by 2025. One in every single ward. And if in fact that does work out, what we will eventually do is have all 5 wards feed into science. By 2025, we will have an art elementary school in every ward, a technology elementary school in every ward, a history elementary school in every ward, a humanities elementary school in every ward. And what will those elementary schools do? They will feed into arts, into science, obviously, university, technology, American history. That's how we are redefining this work. You won't ever have to apply in high school unless you want out of that feeder pattern. So when you look at the logic model and I talk about the feeder pattern, everyone who wants to be simple about it is thinking, oh, he's saying that if you live next to a school, that is the school you go to. Raja León never has subscribed to that addition. Please do not allow anyone to interpret for me what I can clearly articulate for myself. If there's ever a question, like in the Q&A, I'll answer all of your questions. You may not like the answer, but I will definitely answer them. You won't ever be confused because you will help me make sure that I've answered it so that you're not confused. But please be clear on this, that by 2025, 5 schools in each of the respective wards would then be in this feeder pattern. So if you live at Sir Isaac Newton Elementary School at NCC across the street from this school, and you would like to go to Science High School in 8th grade, you will automatically go there for 9th grade. That's how it will work. When you decide, and maybe some students would, you know, maybe they don't want to be a scientist, maybe they don't want to be a doctor, maybe they don't want to be in this research field. Maybe a student at Sir Isaac Newton wants to go to Arts High School. That's when you apply through Newark Enrolls. This September, we will be opening up the Michelle Obama Elementary School. Let me tell you, this is probably going to be the most incredible and exciting school that we have ever created in the history of time. In this city, most definitely. This will create an energy that I will share with you that all of the boys and girls who are already filling up the school, this school is filled for September already. We just announced it in November. Trust me, the incredible education that they will receive, we will make Michelle Obama proud of the school. Well, next school year. So we're talking about September 2022. September 2022, we're opening up 3 new schools, 2 elementary schools, 1 high school. 2 of these, there's also a 4th school, but that school is actually going to be built brand new. Hopefully the plans for that there was a little stuttering in the movement, but we're very, very confident that we will get to negotiate that matter so that it is not any further delay. So 2 elementary schools, 1 high school in September 2022, and then we have another school that will in fact be open in probably 3 or 4 years once we actually have a shovel in the ground. 2 of these schools will be in the South Ward, 2 of these schools will be in the East Ward, or at least that's our current projection. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for this time. I also want you to understand that I understand that I talked about a whole lot of stuff and that we could actually talk about any one of those items for about a good number of days. So I will confess to you that there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I will confess to you that we are nowhere near satisfying this superintendent as to the potential of this school district. I only know this school district. It is the school district that I started in, that I continue to be in. It is the only school district, in fact, that I love. We will work with anybody who the business of educating children is important to them. So I did see everyone who actually signed up, and I want to just globally thank all of you for your interest in joining me. But I also want to challenge all of you. There's a place for every single one of you to assist us. From the curriculum redesign that we've done with Amistad, to the social and emotional learning important work that we started last school year, at the start of this school year. In September, we allowed the students to reacclimate themselves to the whole online process. In October, we began doing assessments. We are not afraid in this school district to assess our students. We understand that they're from Newark, and just like the superintendent, they've already passed the hardest test. They're from Newark. So any other test is not something that is of concern to us. We will meet all of the challenges head on. However, I do want you to know that reality check does set in. So not only did we test the students on how they were doing in content areas, we wanted to also test their social emotional readiness. I have students, ladies and gentlemen, that have lived some incredible feats prior to COVID-19. The stories that I could share would break the strongest of persons. Over the last 11 months, ladies and gentlemen, my students, oh, I'm so proud of them. They have accepted an incredible challenge that wasn't asked of them to take. They are succumbing to nothing but greatness. They are modeling for adults how we have to do a really good job because they're watching us. I am very confident in sharing with you two quick stories. I have a young student who's a senior from the South Ward. He just received a full ride to Harvard University. I have a student he's African American. I have a student who is Dominican from the North Ward, and he just received a full ride to Dartmouth College. His parents, their parents, do not have to pay for either of those scholarships, for either of those tuitions at all. Now, sit back for a quick moment and go, well, those are two students. Ladies and gentlemen, I have hundreds like them. They're getting into the Ivy Leagues. They're getting into the historically Black colleges and universities. And they're getting into our fine, incredible institutions of higher learning in New Jersey, both public and private. They are getting into the incredible program that the chancellor has, in fact, provided the Honors Learning and Living program here at Rutgers Newark. And I'm reminded that one of the really big things that we deployed as a result of the strategic plan, but we took advantage of the realities of COVID-19, is that we launched our Parent University. Our Parent University is, in fact, a program where we are inviting our parents to actually go to a university. It is our own university. And we are providing them credits for actually attending, and we're providing them professional development. You know, those of you who are parents don't need me to tell you this, but unless you read Dr. Spock, there wasn't a really good book to let you know how to be a better parent. If my mom has it right, a parent wants their child to be better than what they are. And so we know that it is not easy. And so we are working really, really hard at providing incredible opportunities at the Parent University. I've dropped little points throughout this time period so that those of you who I don't know or who have not, I have been denied the privilege of being even a better superintendent by not knowing you, that you can reach out to the district. If there are things that you are thinking about that you think will help us, you may see yourself fitting. The reason why you are fitting is because you actually fit. The opportunity for you to assist us in this incredible work is one that I look forward to. The 10 years is not to wait. The 10 years is to get things going. One would have thought that COVID-19 kind of put the brakes on everything. It didn't. It did create the urgency that we need to move faster. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Roger. I think we're going to go to the question and answer part of the program now. Charles, do you want me to handle this, or you?
Yes, would you go ahead, Michael?
Yes. So
We
we've had
have a lot of questions.
yeah. So we've had a number of questions in the chat, and I think we will just kind of go down the list. So I think the first question is from you, Arthur. So if you don't mind unmuting Arthur and ask, if not, I can ask it for you.
Sure, I don't mind. Thank you very much, Roger. This was a very interesting presentation. I can see that the district has been accomplishing lots of very good things. And I have two questions there. I'll ask, the first one is about the technological challenges that the district has faced for children during the pandemic. And what are some of the ways that you've been addressing them? And my second question is really more for information, and that is, what statewide or district-wide mathematics assessments will this district be able to administer for grades 3 to 8 during this school year?
Great. So obviously, as you can just imagine, the technical challenges are very, very wide. We would even be adjusting to them probably as we speak. There were some parents that were making some very well, at the start, the students actually thought that the cell phone was going to be enough. And so they quickly learned that it wasn't. In some instances, I've had parents who have had to make some very important decisions. Do they pay for food or do they pay for the bill? And if they don't pay for their cable bill, that takes care of the technology need. Then, as it relates to Wi-Fi, the Altice's agreement with us is that if the students utilize the district Chromebook, then we can offer the Wi-Fi. So if a student was using their own technology at home and they had a Wi-Fi problem, Altice did not allow us to provide them with that support. So in the end, more students were asking to utilize our Chromebooks because that's how they would be able to get the Wi-Fi. And then we've obviously over time issued the 2,000 or more hotspots where there were needs as it relates to that. So that has been an adjustment. Also know this, that while we have a Chromebook today for every student, there are 9,000 Chromebooks that we have that are outdated, that are dying on us every day. Their shelf life ended. So in our wisdom, we deployed everything that we had, but in reality, by doing that, there are students that needed assistance and support. So right now, for anyone who is interested, we have 2,500 Chromebooks that are still have outlived their warranty. And we would definitely want anyone who can provide assistance in us getting them, that they should actually reach out to us directly. As it relates to math, well, obviously, as you know, this is an area that's extremely important in general, but obviously to me in particular. So there are growth assessments that the students are doing. They took the first one in October. They're taking another one in a couple of days, and then the last one will be in June. What we wanted to do to the students, not knowing what the state was going to do, the state has already ordered that our students will have to take a state test. Now, did I think that was going to happen? I know that they removed that criteria at the end of the school year, but they did not change that for all of the other students this year. So we are modeling not getting caught unprepared. So I understand that it comes with stress, but I also understand that we're going to be ready for that test to the best that we can be. So definitely our director of math already is informed to make sure that you see those assessments, so that if there's any assistance and guidance that you can provide us, we definitely want that. And obviously you providing any PD to our teachers especially in grade 3, I know will help us understand fractions in a way that will model excellence in the years thereafter.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Michael.
Yep. So next, I think we have a question from you, Charles, and from Charles and then Marcus.
Michael, skip me. There's so many other people. Get them.
So Marcus, feel free to go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
I'm sorry, good afternoon. My question refers to what happens after April 12th with partners. I mean, I know that you said that certain people won't be allowed to be in the schools, but I'm wondering if partners will be able to participate in in-person instructional support, and if you have Saturday academies, or will they continue to provide remote support for the rest of the school year in the summer?
Yeah. Currently, the district's protocol is to have each school as a contactless site. There's some really, really good people out there that I know want to help us, and they don't like the idea that in order to work with our students, you actually have to be negative as it relates to COVID-19. So anybody who doesn't want to follow our procedures can stay at the curbside or continue to provide assistance online if that works for them. I'm not trying to be short in the response, but ultimately is this: the health and safety of our students is not going to be compromised by the virus, and it's not going to be compromised by any eager person. If you would like to assist us, you're going to have to follow our procedures. So that's just a little side message for anybody out there who's like, well, we don't understand. Now you know.
Thank you for that. So next, we're going to go to Kimberly, and then just to mix it up and get away from Cornwall, we're going to go from Kimberly to Brian.
Thanks, Michael. And good morning. So my question is relating to.
Kimberly, can you speak up just a little?
Oh, sorry. Is this better? I don't know. Can you hear me? Is this better?
A little better.
Okay. My question was relating to the partnerships that you spoke of with the magnets, the comprehensives, and the organizations and the higher ed institutions. What does that partnership look like, or are you still developing the outline for that?
So thank you so much for that question. You'll see on one of the slides when Michael sends it out to everybody, it's a little asterisk and it says SLC. So the way that we envision the partnership, and each of the partners are in fact aware of this. Every school, back during the Abbott legislation, was required to create a school leadership council. The way that I see it is that all of the members of each of those organizations sits and consults with the leadership of that school. That when the school makes decisions, it's not that the principal does whatever they want. It has to be in consultation with the school leadership council. So I envision it as being a board of trustees, if you will, at every single one of the schools. That's why our work with the charter schools becomes extremely important, because each charter school has that model currently, right? That the school pertains to an entity and not the group of charter schools report to the board. So the way I envision the district is that there's the Board of Education, and then there's these all of these other boards. So it would be the Board of Trustees at Science Park, the Board of Trustees at Weequahic, the Board of Trustees at Anstey School, the Board of Trustees at KIPP, the Board of Trustees at North Star. And then they would all fold up to the Board of Education of the City of Newark.
Thank you very much.
So next, we'll go with Brian, and then with Ms. Brown.
Hi, good morning, Superintendent. My question was just, I know you opened up a lot of new schools here in Newark. I was just curious, how are we addressing the teacher shortage?
Thank you so much for that, Mr. JC. Great question. So we know that representation becomes extremely important. I'll be the first one to say that if I heard that the teachers of Mars were going to be able to teach our children better than anybody else, I would be like, where's the skyrocket ship? Because I need to go there to bring them. Ultimately, we know that our students need the very, very best in front of them. So we actually have partnerships to recruit not only male staff, but African-American males to be in front of our students. I would also be shortchanged if I didn't say that we're also doing that with the Latino representation, as we find that to be equally important. The whole idea of conversations with the legislature and with the State Department of Education is extremely important in that there are rules that exist that actually prohibit people to actually acquire their certifications. So we're interested in entering into pilots with the State Department of Education and to provide them guidance with regards to how we can increase the pool. Obviously, in the hard to fill areas, mathematics and the sciences, those are two critical areas that we have. Also, how we hire staff in the district is also changing so that we are making sure that we're reaching out to students in all school districts. Our partnership with Rutgers, Montclair State University, Jersey City, Trent State, all of those partnerships become extremely critical, as well as all the other universities that I didn't mention. I have a staff member tugging at me at my response to my good friend, Mr. Anthony. So I just did want to clarify, if you are somebody who is saying, I want to assist this incredible work, please do not allow COVID-19 or any of the district's procedures and protocols to be like, oh, well, we can't help. We will figure out how to address all of our issues so that all of those partnerships can actually start or flourish.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. JC. Thank you, Marcus.
Yep. So next we had a question by Marsha Brown, and I think Marsha had to step away, so I'll ask a question. It's could you speak to performance of students under COVID? What are the specific challenges, and what can partners do to help? And I will also add to, could you also speak to some of the mental health challenges from both students, staff, and families, and just both what can partners do to help, and what are some of the things the district?
Well, one of the unfortunate realities of my existence, and I will blame my mother for that, is I'm usually very blunt. So I knew that mental health was real, but what COVID-19 has helped me realize is that there are people that I knew that had mental health problems and everyone else was in hiding. So ultimately, this impacts everybody, that it's not only the students, but it's also the staff. As I shared, there are realities that are impacting our kids. I have a student who emailed me at 2:30 in the morning that he was actually being kicked out of his house and he had no place to go. So the role that the social workers and principals and that I played in that conversation at 2:30 in the morning was extremely important and in fact critical. So the students are realizing that they are in fact in experiences where it's not that they're not in control of it, but that the adults that are around them are not in control of it. So mental health is true on the students' end as well as on the adults. When I say adults, I mean everybody. I don't know how many people in here would give me a thumb up if you're like experiencing some mental health issues or something like that. I'm not talking about to the point of like requiring a doctor, but being very, very stressed. I'll share that I'm on that list. Ultimately, there are practices that we're doing that are helping ameliorate that. So we are affording and opening schools so that school counselors and social workers are actually providing services to students right now. I don't share this usually in the public, and I know that we will broadcast this broader later. And I think it's important for everyone to know that in September, our schools were actually open. We had schools where students and staff were actually in school. Today, I have teachers in schools. In about a couple of days, we will actually restart the program that we started in September, October, where we were providing counseling and direct services to actually our students. The way that we see this in the spring was that we knew who were students that needed our undivided attention. What we did in September is we created a list that it was all of the students, because every single one of our students has experienced separation. Whether they experience death in their early lives or not, all of the students have experienced what happens when you can't talk to your friend anymore. You can't share a cookie with one of your classmates. You can't wipe any one of their tears off of their faces. Our students, and the burden that we will have later, is how do we teach children that are 3 years old and 4-year-olds that it's okay to share? The responsibility that we have later is extremely big, and we're keeping our eyes on what's happening now, providing direct services to children, but we're also very concerned on how we're going to address this later. Like right now, teachers may not be saying to students, hi, share a cookie or hug your friend who fell. But eventually, we'll be at a place where we can do that again.
Thank you for that. Next, I think we have Trey Manisha.
Hi, Superintendent León. So we recently had a PD session with parents and youth program providers. And I'm glad you mentioned the health portion, because they talked a little bit about the need for mental health support, anxiety, dealing with anxiety, depression, etc., for parents and young people, as well as teachers, and offering counseling support. So they spoke about that being a need. And they also mentioned the need for special education students and parents with special needs during COVID-19. The fact that in addition to like a laptop or so on and so forth, for some special needs kids, additional academic support and resources were needed in the home. And so if you can speak a little bit more about the process to get those resources to special needs youth and family, and so that programs on the call can also figure out how to move her through the process to do in order to make sure they have it.
Perfect. I'll give you an example that just happened the other day. But before that, and I don't mean to pry, some of my staff members don't like it when I do this, but how's your baby?
All three of them. I have 3 under 3 now. All 3 are doing.
Yeah, I know, but the baby. She just had a baby like the other day, and look at her. She's already working. So thank you for that. You're such a great mommy. So one of the things that I will highlight for you is a parent reached out to me. And I want to highlight that this is not how it happens. The parent should be asking the teacher and then inquiring with the principal. The principal in our 10-year strategic plan is the lever. They're supposed to do what I'm saying happens. So the mommy writes to me, here's what my child's issues are. It was a child that is exceptional. Her baby is brilliant, but the adults are having problems on how to show that to everybody else. So the mommy said, these are the technological needs that I think my child would benefit from. And she listed them. It was a lot. You know what I did? I forwarded it to the staff and I said, everything that she says she needs, when is she getting them? Who's gonna let her know? And then I thanked them a lot. Then I replied to her something to the effect of, how does she know all of that? Because she's the kid's mom. Of course, if you're a mom or a dad, who knows better what your child needs than you? I was going to ask her, does she have a teaching certificate? Because I might hire her to be a teacher. That's what I need. I need people who understand how to meet the needs of students and then request of the district. We are a $1 billion, almost $1.1 billion organization. We are in the process of acting like we are a $1 billion+ organization. So we have the money to assist. We also know that if we were funded properly, we could actually do more, but we will actually reallocate funds and take care of every single parent that you talked to that other day. If you hand me a list of who they were and their contact information, we will reach out to them. And any parent who is on this call, any parent who hears this message later can reach me directly at 973-733-7333. And we will make sure that if you need something, you get it.
Thank you.
So next, I think we're going to go with Tiffany.
Yes, greetings all. Greetings, Superintendent. Okay, so my question would be, would you please identify me the precise SEL model which is being utilized, because I know there are different models and methods that you aforementioned that was implemented last school year, and what precisely are the training requirements in place for teachers as well as parents so that we can go from this survival mode now into thriving in this new paradigm that shifted?
Yeah, so I know that there are folks on the call that will that are either dropping links for me. So I know it's the Rethink Ed SEL assessment. That is what we actually administered early at the start of this school year. And part of the strategy ultimately there is to bridge the academic programming and then the work that we know is critical toward that end. What we learned from the teachers who implemented in-person instruction during the summer. We were one of the few school districts that had children in school this summer. We had 0 outbreaks, 0 outbreaks. One of the things that we learned, Ms. Newton, is that in some instances, teachers thought that they needed actually to spend 50% of the instructional time talking about the children and what they have lost. So the students, as we are worrying about the academic program, we are finding that there are inhibitors towards students demonstrating true mastery if we don't unveil them, uncover them, deal with them, to have conversations with our students in profound ways. I'm meeting with the staff. I'm having my own meetings with student leaders at each of the high schools. As it relates to the adults, you know, obviously, if we are saying we need to help the kids, then we need to make sure that those who are helping them might, if they need help, also in fact receive it. So what we are starting is a series of sessions with all of the staff members to make sure. And when we say staff members, some people always think that I'm only talking about the teachers. So I'm talking about custodians, security guards, the food service workers, the cashier, teacher aides, principals, vice principals, assistant superintendents, executive members of my staff. We're providing and affording a lot of wraparound services for not only the children to seize through these online realities, but for our staff as well. I believe that there's nothing better than me being able, in the room that I'm broadcasting to you from, my executive assistant, David Scutari, is here. The people who are in my staff, I try to be passionate at all times, but there's something that's uniquely different when you're actually sitting with me. And I know that it is true for our teachers. The fact that I could put my hand on your shoulder and go, it's going to be okay. The fact that, you know, as an adult, you know, you would see a tear in my eye and you know that it just wasn't placed there. So that you can feel my heart by the interaction. So staff is also learning, how do we broadcast better? How do we utilize this system better? And I will give you this footnote. Hopefully it makes sense. Historically, what would happen if we didn't have a math teacher? We would close the class or hire a substitute teacher, and the students may in fact get a watered down version of what they would have gotten if they had an actual certified teacher. So one of the things that we did is one high school was offering a course and another high school was also offering the course. The second high school did not have a certified teacher hired yet. So what did we do? Instead of closing the class or paying somebody to conduct a 6th period of that class, we placed the students in the second school online with the teacher in the first school. So all of the students in both of the schools actually have a certified teacher. So one of the points that I'm raising is that in the drama of your question, and it's real, that what we're trying to seize are opportunities so that we actually seize the realities of this online instruction and afford children the opportunity of getting the best possible teacher in front of them. Our goal is to have the best teacher in front of every child in every school all the time. The realities of COVID-19 are such that we are seizing the opportunity, and while our vacancies are at an all-time low in the history, our teacher vacancies are so low that I actually wanted to review the data on a daily basis because I was shocked by their reality. In the end, we are seizing opportunities that are being availed to us by something that we were not under control. The other thing that I would want to mention is, I don't know why I needed to have known to have done that. I try to act like I'm the smartest world on the planet. So it was kind of humbling when reality checks in to let me know that there are actually other people on the planet that are smarter. And one of the things that I realized is that, hey, we could use this online experience and not deny students an incredible education. So I don't want to say we're doing the best of it as we can, because that will belittle all of the incredible work of my staff and all of the school level staff and central office who are really working diligently on behalf of children.
So we're actually scheduled to end at 12:45, but the superintendent has been so kind to give us a few moments. I think we've covered the questions in the chat with the exception of yours, Charles. So if you want to present your question, and we have a few more moments, like as I mentioned, the superintendent's been so kind to give us additional time. So if there are additional questions, please feel free to put them in the chat.
Michael, I think I'll actually ask a different question, reflecting on what the superintendent said. Embedded in a lot of what the superintendent was describing is the idea that the system is going to become more challenging intellectually, right? Standards are being raised across the system. And so I'm wondering, Roger, if you can say something about how do you make teachers rise to a different level, right? Because it's a different standard of teaching is needed to pull off some of the programs that you've been describing.
All right. So there's one way to get to that point. And sometimes I'll utilize words that will make you think of something other than what I meant. And that's usually a defense mechanism, if you will, so you stop asking questions. So I want you to focus very carefully on all of the words that I am saying. For the last 11 years, we have taught everyone in the organization throughout the entire chain of command that you can make any decision that you want to make. And that good, bad, or indifferent, whatever happens, happens, and so be it. That we have closed schools instead of open schools. That schools that were worthy of children but needed assistance were closed instead of bettered. The word is accountability. The word is accountability. But accountability gets misconstrued because people then interpret that as, oh, a tyrant firing people. Well, I am Cuban, so I'll highlight that for the group. But ultimately, at the end, it is about assistance and support and pressure. We have to model excellence. So every principal must be able to actually teach a class, understand the importance and role of systems and systems thinking, to understand that whenever anybody says, oh, the district is, that they are in fact the district. My teachers are critical because they are the most significant heartbeat in a classroom is that of the child. So imagine the heart in a classroom is beating. I am saying that that is the most significant heartbeat in a school. Who is the next person next to that most significant heartbeat? It is a teacher. That heartbeat becomes the next most important, critical heartbeat in that classroom. So being a teacher is not easy. If being a teacher were easy, we wouldn't have had state operation of the school district. We wouldn't be worrying about learning loss during any crisis. Teaching is a very difficult thing to do. However, we do know that there is research that if we actually adhere to it, would provide us answers. So we know that professional learning communities are a critical infrastructure towards redesigning what occurs in school. We know that grading policies need to move away from their antiquated realities from before any of our births to what actually will help move instruction today. We know that there are learning styles that children have, and that we actually know that there's research on how to actually educate children to be better than where they are. Everyone has to grow. That leaves no one out of the conversation. When I placed my head on the pillow last night, I thought about the fact that I was going to be better today than I was yesterday, and that I do that every night because I must always be a model of excellence as well. Some days I do a better job than others, but ultimately, the reality is that every principal in the school must serve the same role, that every teacher must serve the same role, that my head custodian must be a model of excellence, that they must understand that the reason why we are here is because we are focused and centered on children. So the whole idea about raising the bar on the instructional program is critical. So we have to afford students opportunities. Watch this. We actually have a student that received a merit scholarship. So the PSAT is the gateway towards affording children that opportunity. When do we administer it? Well, we know in this country, it only counts your junior year. When I was assistant superintendent in charge of the high schools, I actually purchased the PSAT for every 7th and 8th grader. We know that today's version of PSAT 910 is the best assessment for PSAT 8-9 is the best assessment to actually be administered to children starting in grade 8. So we increased the bar by demanding more of students. You saw the list of AP courses. Do you know that we have students that earned 5s on AP exams? I don't want anyone to have to like play me out in the conversation. I took AP courses. I did very well in those classes, but I didn't score 5s. I have students that scored perfect scores on the SATs, and 5s on the APs. These are students who didn't know that they could. We're providing students with the opportunity to show everyone that they can. It is not a burden on the child. It is the will of the adult to know that all that we have to do is not be afraid of the children's results of these assessments because they're from Newark. They've already passed the hardest test. Our students will shine. They just need an adult in front of them who believes in them.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Superintendent, I just want to bring attention to the chat. I know you all have put a lot of information in the chat. So you put your contact information, but to the degree that you want to highlight anything that you put in the chat, I definitely want to give you an opportunity to do that. As well as I want to bring to everyone's attention that our next session would be on February 18th. And I put a link to the registration in the chat.
I would just say that, we're obviously excited to be with you all today. I would be remiss if I didn't share with you a conversation that I had with children the other day. So on Friday, I read to the 1st and 2nd graders of Roseville Community Charter School, Ruby Bridges. And at the start of this week, I read to the 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds of Newark Educators Charter School, Dr. Seuss, Oh, the Places You'll Go. I have to tell you that last week was a busy week for me, and the boys and girls at Roseville Community Charter School made my week the awesome week that it was. I left that reading being a better superintendent because of those boys and girls. The start of this week continued the same because I met 3-year-olds through 9-year-olds at Newark Educators Charter School. And they are the reasons why I am realizing my dream. As superintendent of schools, I believe that it is my responsibility to help children realize their dreams. It is not my dream to be the superintendent of schools. Please leave this meeting knowing with everything that has been shared in the chat that if you didn't know one thing, that's the one thing that you do know now. That when I say I am realizing my dream, it's because children are modeling for adults the excellence that I know they possess. And that we as educators in this school system can only subscribe to one reality. And that is you are to do right by children at all times. And that ultimately at the end, those who don't understand it, I am sure that there are other opportunities that they can seek but working in this city is just not one of them. I also wanted to say that the fact that I am with all of you and I saw all of the great people who signed up to be a part of this session. And for those of you who don't know, when I say I'm the one who leaves the call being better because you will somehow interact with me, please understand that that is not an understatement. But I do want you to know, this meeting isn't topping my 2 sessions with the boys and girls at those 2 schools. I just had an absolutely wonderful time. I will tell you that in the many things that I am addressing during the course of this week, COVID and snow and vaccine and educating children and the realities of everything from personal life to this role. You come a close, maybe second to everything that I've had to do. I humbly tell you that I thank you for the opportunity to just showcase a little bit about what we're doing in the school district and to let you know that ultimately at the end, the only way that we're going to get the school district better than where it is today and in sync with the vision that I forecast is that everyone is going to need to row in the same direction. And I invite all of you to join us because where we're going is a beautiful place. I actually read the book. I know what the end of the chapter says, and we win.
Yeah, Superintendent, thank you so much for that. Superintendent, I just wanted to be respectful to our audience. We did have one more question from Shaniqua, and was wondering if you could entertain one more question, and then Charles, I can turn it over to you to close out.
We're good. I'm good. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So working as a partner with MBO, I've spoken with some special needs teachers who've expressed that special needs students are not given enough supplemental resources and curricula separate from gen ed, but they're still expected to stay on the same pacing guide. And there's a push for them to focus on grade level standards, even though they may be below level. My question was, does the district have plans to provide more resources to support special needs teachers and parents to support their learning style?
Yeah, so one of the really important things, thank you for the question, first of all. One of the really important things that I have to make sure that our staff understands is that, like, I need to know these things, right? And then we have to create a climate in the schools where teachers tell the principals, hi, here's what the problem, like the example where the parent thought of a brilliant strategy of what she needs to provide assistance and support. Like, why is she struggling for that when we have educators who know or supposed to know? I'm not saying that that the educators know better. I'm just saying that they are certified. They should be able to guide the parent and then ask the parent to have all eyes on the work that the actual children need to do. So I would say this to you. I do have a every other month or so meeting with staff members, and it's a teacher from every school. Actually, it's 3 or 4 teachers from every school, 3 from all the elementary schools and 4 from every single one of the high schools. I'm going to make this a topic, and I'm actually going to be meeting with them probably sooner rather than later. And your question is going to make me think that I should probably meet with them sooner, as well as with the child study team members. The whole idea about providing resources is not a new conversation. So the idea that resources may not have arrived to people is a problem. So I'm going to make that an agenda item with them. I want you to know that Carolyn Granado and Marilyn Mitchell is the director of the Office of Special Education. Carolyn was in that role before, now she's the assistant superintendent. One of the things that they've done with me is met with our leading experts in the district, both central office and at the schools. Because central office, you know, there are supervisors, but the people at the school are actually the ones who will be honest and be like, we don't have this, we don't have that, we don't have the other thing. So ultimately, I'm going to circle back with that group, just in case my meeting with the teachers is not as quick as I would want it. And we're going to actually reach out to every single one of the special education teachers to funnel up to us ideas and recommendations. I know that online is difficult in general, but there are also some things that they're going to probably need when they get back into the school. We want to make sure that they're ready for that. So I'm going to circle back in 2 fronts. If you spoke with some teachers directly. I would just ask you, circle back on my behalf. I don't mean to make you work for me. So I apologize to you upfront for doing that. But I would ask you to say to them, circle back with whoever is, if it's a teacher or an aide, to circle back to the teacher or the principal respectively, and to just share with them, these are some of the issues that they have. If they've already done that, tell them to do it again and to smile this time and be like, hi, I said it to you before. And I will do a couple of things. I will reach out to the principals to discuss this item. We will discuss it with the child study team members, and then we will discuss it with the teacher representatives to make sure that they actually get back to their colleagues. So when I meet with the teachers, 3 at the elementary, 4 at the high schools, their charge is to then go back to the schools and advise all of the teachers of the conversation that I had with them. It's my strategy in getting closer to children as fast as possible. Then I also want you to know that I meet with students from all of the high schools. Some of the students have an IEP, some don't. Ultimately, at the end, I'm also meeting with children so that when I say to you, I'm expecting a student with an IEP to have this resource, I'm not relying on the teachers to tell me, yes, it happened. I'm actually asking children, did it happen? So I want you to understand my strategy. The principals are the lever. Teachers are closest to the most significant heartbeat. I meet with children to make sure that what I'm saying to the adults is being realized by them. Then I meet with the staff to let them know what the children are telling me as it relates to what they're supposed to receive. And then to capitalize all of it, I meet with one parent representative from every single one of the schools, elementary and high schools. So see, the reason why I need to meet with the parents is because I need all eyes focused. See, what happens is this, I'm a parent and I'm focusing like this. You're a parent and you're focusing like that. Another parent is focusing this way. Another parent may be focusing that way. I want to put them all together so that now I got eyes going like this. See, I don't need all of the parents to be looking at everything, but I need all of the parents moving in the same direction and looking at everything. So we're doing checkpoints along the way. It's, it's the whole trust but verify idea implemented in an education standpoint. So thank you for the question. I will raise it myself directly. While that is going to occur soon, our immediate actions will be, we know where the special needs students are. We will have a direct conversation with the principals and the child study team members to remind them how to circle up resources. I believe that you have received a couple of links already with regards to what we're doing in particular. I would like for them to also drop the link for parents. If they didn't do that in the chat box, they did that already. I see my staff on top of it. So there are a couple of links that may help in guiding some of the conversations that were raised by the last 2 questions, yours and Tremonisha's. So thank you for your question. And if you can, let those people know. You can direct them to me also. Usually people get like, oh, like that, but we'll make it happen. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And we are over time now, so we will close. But I want to say, first, just thank everybody who took part this afternoon. And I want to repeat what the superintendent said about thanking his staff. I mean, it's a 90-minute presentation, but you can look at what they put into the chat. You can see how much staff time it took to make this presentation come off. But above all, of course, we want to thank the superintendent. This is an incredible time for people who are in leadership positions in our cities. And we are really, really grateful that he took some of his time and helped clear up some questions that all of us had on our minds. So thanks again to the superintendent and his whole staff. Everybody take care and be safe now. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.